What's going on, guys?
Okay.
Derrick Jaxn here, and today I'm.
And you see the smile on his face, like he looks crazy.
We just wanted to address a couple of things. We understand that some of you may have already heard that this chapter of our. What's going on, guys? Derrick Jaxn here, and today I'm joined by my lovely wife, Derrick. And we just wanted to address a couple of things. We understand that some of you may have already heard, maybe not, that this chapter of our marriage is one that was preceded by a marriage that I completely failed. And I would say it just started around August, maybe September of last year. But, a lot has been said already about what was the cause and all that other stuff. Some of it is true. Some of it is completely false.
What I don't like about his body language is that he's crowding her, number one, and she looks shell-shocked. But that's her body language. Let me just finish talking about him. Like, he's kind of like leaning in and leaning, like that's almost like persuasive tactics. Those are tactics of persuasion, when you kind of like get up on somebody and you try to convey sincerity by touching their body and like really kind of like looking in their, like he's trying too hard to convey sincerity, in my opinion. But let's keep watching.
But the truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derrick Jaxn was involved with other women outside the marriage. So the same way that I preach, men and women in this situation.
And the way she looked at him, because first of all, he's talking really fast, which also conveys to me, like honestly, like kind of like a guilt factor, or like he's, sometimes when you talk real fast like that, you're trying to talk off the fly instead of actually coming from the heart. Like you're coming from off the top of your head versus coming out of the heart about this issue. If he was really coming out of the heart about this issue, then he wouldn't even be on here with his wife talking about this. This would be a private matter. He wouldn't have said nothing about it. Not to us, because what's the matter to us? Like, the people that rock with you gonna rock with you anyway. So why do you feel a need to go in and make it nice to your customer base? Just
need to face consequences of their actions, deserve to be held accountable. Guess what? Derrick Jaxn's no exemption. He's not exempt from that.
The other thing that kind of strikes me as odd is that he keeps on calling himself Derrick Jaxn. I gotta convey sincerity now. He keeps calling himself by himself's name. I find that to be rather odd.
I'm not a victim. Nobody made me do this. She didn't make me or push me to do it. The next person didn't make me. No friend influenced me. It don't matter how I was raised and what trauma, whatever. Look, I made decisions. I made a series of decisions that I got to account for. There's no excuse or justification. I've already made that bed and have had to lie in it. And now we're finally getting on to the other side, personally, in our own healing, in our own marital oneness. And now this is being made public to you guys, so we're bringing that forth to you guys to let you know where we're at with that. But did you want to say anything?
Yes, so I do want to just add that I agree with what he just said. There is...
I have no judgment about this lady at all, because I can't, who gonna judge her? You judge your mama, I'm not gonna judge her. But I do find it strange, awkward, and odd the way that this is set up. Mostly because he's like almost like over talking him, and it's like, well, do you have something? Like, girl, like, why are you even asking if she has something to say? That's a violation. That's a violation. She should just be sitting there looking pretty, sitting pretty, like legs crossed. Like, she should have played it up. She could have played this in a much more sympathetic light that could have either kept their followers, kept their clout going. But they kind of like, she played the homemaker Christian role. And a lot of black women do that. Like, you play that Christian homely role, and it's like, well, nigga, who's more respected, Cardi B or this homely ass homewrecker? And not to call her a homely homewrecker because she's a wife, but you get what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm not trying to say that to be rude. I'm trying to say that to be real. Like, she could have played that up from a bad bitch's perspective. And he could have done the same thing too. Like, well, I had to grovel at my wife's feet. But he's arrogant. Like, he's coming across to me as arrogant. He's coming across to me as someone that likes to keep a bitch under his thumb.
No justification for bringing other women into our marriage on any level. When I found out about it, I left. I did not hesitate or waste time to do so. And I stayed gone.
Well, she did say she left though, so let me clear that up, I guess.
How many times he came, I stayed gone and stood firm on, I am not coming back. And I did not come back until I seen a shift and a change in his mentality. So there's nothing out there right now that is information that I don't already know about or haven't known about. And so this is not something that is new. We have moved forward from it. We have gotten counsel for it and continue to do so. He is still continuing to pursue God and continuing to seek guidance and wise counsel from men of God. So today,
this is another thing, y'all. Like, I know this is going to sound out there probably to somebody, but here's the deal about God and trying to pursue God. God is within you, so what are you out here looking for? God is in here, so if you don't have it within yourself and you can't look at yourself in the mirror, Derrick Jaxn, and stop calling yourself Derrick Jaxn and step into your own life and your own goal, your own role, and take accountability for your actions instead of saying Derrick did it, then how are you really evolving is what I get here. Like, I get the sense that he's flipping the narrative and he's admitting that Derrick did something wrong, but he's admitting that Derrick did something wrong and not acknowledging that this nigga is Derrick.
Where I'm at is at peace, and I proudly stand by his side, and I have no...
She hesitated when she said that. She said, I proudly stand by his side. Big girl, just say, I'm not raising nobody else's baby. He gonna mess around and, and not to say that you don't want to raise somebody's babies if you have stepchildren or something like that, but you have stepchildren with the man that you married before he had children.
I have no hurt, no shame about that. We have already turned a new chapter in this story. We are continuing to move forward, and we are just now sharing that with you. I forgave him, and most importantly, God has first forgiven him, and I also forgive the others as well. And with that, we are free and moving forward. So that's all I have.
If you get nothing else,
I like what she said. I won't critique her or even like step on this girl's neck on regard to what she said, because like, I get it. Like, we all get it. We all get it. We were all rooting for you, sis. I was about to negate that with the but I will not. But let me restart this video.
What I've ever said over the last 9 years, or right here in this video, please get this. Nothing is right until it is right with God. Nothing works until it comes into alignment with biblical standard of how God told us to do things, especially when we're talking about a marital, spiritual covenant. You cannot do this by your own understanding, your own intelligence, your own willpower, your own values. You have to have the grace of God to break free from certain things, to stay away from certain things, to not operate from your lowest self, whatever it may be.
Derrick Jaxn has always struck me as somebody that had emotional issues, especially impulse control issues. He's always struck me as that type. And I only say that because, again, he talks real fast and he's real off the whim and off the top of his head. He kind of like also has that look. Like, the way he looks, especially like in the eyes, they almost look a little bit dead behind the eyes. I'm not saying that to like psychoanalyze this dude, because I ain't got no degree. But I will say that from like an intuitive perspective, he looks like he is definitely lost. And although he's saying like, oh, I can't blame my childhood trauma, like, well, no, you maybe should have brought that up, because that might have garnered more sympathy, because at this point no one knows why you're doing the fuckboy shit you're doing. But if you're saying to me like, oh, I had this happen to me when I was younger, I might then in that case begin to feel something more for you.